He told me not to joke about cheating again, so I did on his birthday. The cake was the only thing that stayed. Looking back, I should have known better, but honestly, I still don't get why he couldn't take a joke. I'm Sadie, 28, and this all started 3 years into my marriage with Donovan when I discovered how entertaining it was to watch him squirm. It began innocently enough at a dinner with his coworkers. Donovan mentioned working late with his team, and I couldn't resist leaning in with a smirk. Yeah, sure, working late with Jessica from accounting. The table went quiet, and Donovan's face flushed that perfect shade of uncomfortable that I found oddly satisfying. His boss laughed awkwardly, and just like that, I discovered my favorite new pastime, making Donovan jealous, just enough to keep him on his toes. You see, Donovan always had this thing about being the good guy. Mr. Reliable, who everyone at the financial firm depended on. Too dependable, if you ask me. Sometimes I'd scroll through his boring work texts while he showered, just to check, you know? But God forbid he ever touched my phone. One time he picked it up to check the time, and I nearly lost it. "Why are you spying on me?" I snapped, snatching it back. The look on his face was priceless, like I'd caught him doing something wrong when he was just checking the time. My friend Melissa's husband brought her flowers every Tuesday, just because, while Donovan thought anniversary flowers were enough. "Did you see Ryan surprised Melissa with concert tickets?" I'd ask casually. He's so thoughtful. Donovan would sigh and say something about their budget for the house we were saving for, but I knew what he was really saying. He wasn't trying hard enough. The cheating jokes became my thing at gatherings. "Don't worry about Donovan being late. He was probably just dropping off his other wife first," I'd tell our friends, enjoying how everyone laughed while Donovan tried to smile through it. When he finally confronted me at home, his voice all serious, I couldn't believe he was being so dramatic. "Sadie, those jokes make me uncomfortable. They're embarrassing and hurtful." He was standing in our kitchen, still in his work clothes, looking genuinely upset. "Oh my God, it's just a joke," I rolled my eyes. "Everyone else thinks it's funny. You're being way too sensitive." I turned back to my phone, scrolling through Instagram. Besides, if you weren't so boring sometimes, I wouldn't need to spice things up. That hit a nerve. I could see it in the way his jaw tightened. "Why do you need to put me down in front of people who respect me?" he asked quietly. "Put you down? I'm just having fun. You need to lighten up." I walked over and patted his cheek condescendingly. "Not everything is an attack on you." He tried bringing it up again a week later after I joked to his father that his son was probably texting his girlfriend under the table during a dinner with Donovan's dad. That time, Donovan didn't wait until we got home. "Sadie, stop. We talked about this." His voice was firm, eyes serious. "We're just having fun, right, Richard?" I turned to his dad, who looked uncomfortable. "Donovan's being dramatic again." His dad cleared his throat. "Maybe there's a time and place for certain jokes, Sadie." Great. Of course he'd take Donovan's side. His mom would have probably said the same if she ever bothered to show up when I was around. We'd had this weird tension since I'd made some comments about her cooking at our wedding reception. Now we just avoided each other at family functions. She'd conveniently have migraines whenever we were invited over. Later that night, Donovan actually raised his voice, which was rare for him. "This isn't funny anymore, Sadie. I've asked you repeatedly to stop with the cheating jokes." I did what always worked, turned it around on him. "Why are you so insecure? If you weren't hiding something, you wouldn't be so defensive." His face fell exactly how I expected, and I knew I'd won that round. Of course, I conveniently forgot all the times he'd asked me to stop, when, 2 months later, I hinted to our friends that Donovan's late nights might involve his attractive new intern. When he confronted me again, I genuinely couldn't understand why he was still harping on this. "You said that weeks ago," I reminded him. "Are you seriously keeping score of every little thing I say?" Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs, how he stopped sharing work stories, how his smile didn't reach his eyes when I made those jokes. But honestly, I was having too much fun pushing his buttons, watching him try to stay calm while I knew exactly how to get under his skin. It became a game I couldn't stop playing, even when he literally told me, "Sadie, if you joke about me cheating one more time, you're going to regret it." At the time, I just thought, Challenge accepted. Things started getting weird after that. Donovan stopped telling me about work events unless they were absolutely necessary. When I'd ask, "Who's going to be there?" he'd just say, "The usual people," and change the subject. I noticed he'd started keeping his phone face down and took it with him even for quick showers. Obviously, I checked it the second I got the chance. Turned out he'd added a new passcode. Seriously? What was he hiding? "Changed your password?" I asked when he came out of the bathroom, steam still clinging to his shoulders. "Trying to keep secrets now?" "I thought you said going through each other's phones was spying." He shot back, not even looking at me as he got dressed. "Your words, not mine." God, he was so annoying when he used my own arguments against me. That's different. I have nothing to hide. Neither do I, Sadie. I just want some basic privacy. 2 weeks later, we were having dinner with my friend Melissa and her husband Ryan when I brought up Donovan's new password protection. He's suddenly all secretive with his phone. Makes you wonder, right? Instead of laughing along, Melissa looked uncomfortable. "Maybe he just wants some privacy, Sadie. Everyone deserves that." "Thank you," Donovan said, looking at Melissa with gratitude that made my blood boil. "Wow, taking his side now?" I snapped at her. "Didn't realize you two were so close." The table went silent. I could see Ryan shifting uncomfortably while Donovan just stared at his plate. Right on cue, I brought up how Donovan had missed my cousin's baby shower to work the previous weekend. "Probably hanging out with Jessica from accounting," I added with a fake laugh. "They've been working a lot of weekends lately." The moment we got to the car, Donovan exploded. "What is wrong with you? You promised to stop with the cheating jokes." "Oh please, I was just..." "No, Sadie, you're doing exactly what you promised not to do. You're embarrassing me in front of the few friends we have left." "What do you mean, left?" He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. "Haven't you noticed? Mark and Alicia haven't invited us over in months. Not since you suggested I might be sleeping with Mark's sister at their anniversary party." "That was just a joke. You're being..." "If you say I'm being too sensitive one more time, I swear to God, Sadie." He rarely interrupted me, and never with that tone. "This isn't about me being sensitive. This is about you constantly undermining our relationship for a cheap laugh." I stared out the window, arms crossed. "Whatever. You're overreacting as usual." I could feel him seething next to me as he drove in silence. "Besides," I added, unable to help myself, "someone needs to keep you on your toes. Make sure you don't get too comfortable." When Donovan's birthday started approaching, I noticed he hadn't mentioned any plans. Usually, he'd drop hints about restaurants or weekend trips he wanted. This time, nothing. Fine. I'd plan something myself and show everyone what a thoughtful wife I was. I'd even invite his dad, though his mom would probably have another migraine. Maybe I'd finally prove to Donovan that he was being ridiculous about everything. I went all out planning Donovan's 32nd birthday party. Rented out the back room at his favorite restaurant, ordered that chocolate cake he loves from the fancy bakery across town, and invited all our remaining friends plus some of his coworkers. Even got his dad to agree to come, which was a minor miracle considering how awkward things had been lately. His mom, predictably, had plans she couldn't change. Whatever. The whole time I was planning, Donovan seemed distracted. He'd been taking these mysterious phone calls, stepping outside to talk, which was new. One night I heard him mention something about getting everything in order, before hanging up quickly when I walked in. When I asked who it was, he just said, "Work stuff," and changed the subject. I tried checking his recent calls, but of course his phone was locked with that stupid new passcode. My friend Melissa had been acting weird too, canceling our usual coffee dates, being vague about her schedule. Part of me wondered if there was something going on between them, which was ridiculous considering she'd been with Ryan forever, but still. The thought planted itself in my brain. 2 days before the party, I was at the boutique where I worked part-time when Travis, one of our regular customers who always flirted with me, came in. He'd been texting me occasionally, nothing serious, just friendly stuff with a hint of something more. Donovan would have hated it if he knew, which is why I kept my phone locked and never mentioned Travis. As I rang up Travis's purchase, another gift for his sister that I suspected was just an excuse to come see me, a brilliant idea hit me. The ultimate way to lighten the mood and snap Donovan out of whatever funk he'd been in. A joke that would finally make him see how ridiculous his jealousy was. "Hey Travis," I said casually. "What are you doing Saturday night? My husband's having a birthday party, and I think you should come." The surprise on his face was priceless. "Really? You want me to meet your husband?" Travis looked equal parts confused and thrilled. "Absolutely. It'll be fun." I leaned in closer. "Just play along with whatever I say, okay? I'm planning a little joke to lighten the mood." Travis grinned, clearly thinking this was heading somewhere exciting. "I'm in. Text me the details." That night, I laid in bed next to Donovan, who was reading some boring financial book instead of paying attention to me, and crafted my perfect plan. I'd set up some suggestive texts with Travis, leave my phone where Donovan would accidentally see them during the party, then have Travis show up unannounced. Donovan would get all jealous and worked up, and then, surprise, it would all be revealed as a hilarious birthday prank. Everyone would laugh, Donovan would finally see how he overreacted about everything, and we could go back to normal. The day of the party, I was in a great mood. Everything was set up perfectly at the restaurant: decorations, cake, private room. I'd even bought a new dress that I knew Donovan used to love on me, though he barely seemed to notice when I put it on. His loss. As I finished my makeup, I texted Travis to confirm our plan. His reply came immediately. "Can't wait to finally meet the famous Donovan. This is going to be a night to remember." I smiled at my reflection. It certainly was. The party started well enough. People arrived, drinks flowed, and Donovan was doing that thing where he pretends everything's fine in public, even though I knew he was still mad about our fight earlier that week. His dad showed up with a gift-wrapped box and that awkward smile that said he'd rather be anywhere else. Melissa and Ryan came late, and Melissa barely made eye contact with me when I hugged her. Whatever. I'd deal with her weirdness later. Speech. I clinked my glass as everyone got settled with their drinks. "I want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate my amazing husband." I placed my hand on Donovan's shoulder, squeezing a little too hard. 32 years of being the most dependable, predictable man I know. A few uncomfortable laughs. Donovan's jaw tightened, but he kept smiling. "Seriously though," I continued, "no one knows how to work late like my Donovan." I winked at Jessica from his office, who shifted uncomfortably. "Just kidding, or am I?" More awkward laughter. Donovan took a sip of his drink, eyes fixed straight ahead. As planned, I left my phone on the table when I went to check on the cake. Made sure the screen was facing up, notifications visible. I took my time in the back, chatting with the waitstaff about serving timing. When I returned, Donovan was standing rigid by the table, my phone in his hand. "Your phone's been blowing up," he said quietly, holding it out to me. His expression was unreadable. "Perfect." "Oh, thanks, babe," I said casually, taking it and checking the notifications as if nothing was wrong. Travis had followed the script perfectly. 3 texts, each more suggestive than the last. The final one read, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Your husband won't know what hit him." I watched Donovan's face for that familiar jealous tension, but instead, he just looked tired. Before I could gauge his reaction further, the restaurant host appeared at our private room entrance. "There's a gentleman here asking for Sadie. Says he's expected." And there was Travis, right on cue, looking hot in a way I knew would push all of Donovan's buttons. He was holding a gift bag and wearing that cocky smile that always got him extra attention at the boutique. "Happy birthday, man!" Travis extended his hand to Donovan. "Sadie's told me so much about you." The room went silent. Everyone was watching, exactly as I'd planned. Donovan looked at Travis's outstretched hand, then at me, then back to Travis. "I bet she has," Donovan said quietly. Then to my absolute shock, he shook Travis's hand. "Thanks for coming." Wait, what? Where was the jealous outburst, the confrontation? This wasn't following my script at all. "Babe, this is Travis," I jumped in, trying to salvage the situation. "He's a friend from work." I emphasized friend just enough to raise suspicion. "I know who he is." Donovan replied calmly. "You've been texting him all week." My heart skipped. "How did he?" "Your passcode is still your birthday, Sadie. You never changed it." He said this so only I could hear, his voice flat and emotionless. I forced a laugh, too loud and too sharp. "Everyone, this is getting crazy. Travis is just a customer from the boutique who's been helping me plan Donovan's surprise. Travis looked confused. Surprise, you told me. The cake, I interrupted desperately. Let's bring out the cake. As the waitstaff wheeled in the elaborate chocolate cake I'd ordered, I tried to regain control of the situation. Happy birthday to my amazing husband, I announced, moving to stand next to Donovan for the obligatory couple photo. He stepped away. No, thank you. The room was so quiet you could hear the candles flickering. Melissa was staring at her plate. Ryan looked like he wanted to disappear. Donovan's dad had that same expression he'd had at our wedding when I'd made that joke about being pregnant to see his reaction. Don't be dramatic, I hissed at Donovan. It's your birthday party. Is it? He looked around the room. Because it feels like another opportunity for you to embarrass me. The night imploded spectacularly after that. Donovan walked out without another word, leaving me standing next to that stupid cake with everyone staring. His dad followed him, shooting me a look that said everything his politeness wouldn't let him verbalize. Travis awkwardly backed toward the exit, muttering something about a misunderstanding. One by one, guests made excuses to leave until only Melissa and Ryan remained. What the hell just happened? I demanded, collapsing into a chair. It was just a joke. Why is everyone acting like I committed a crime? Melissa sighed, exchanging a look with Ryan that made my skin crawl. Sadie, you invited another man to your husband's birthday party and set it up to look like you were cheating. What did you think would happen? It was going to be funny. Once everyone realized it was a prank. That's not a prank, Ryan interrupted, surprising me. He rarely spoke against me. That's cruel. Oh, come on, Donovan's just being oversensitive as usual. He'll cool down and be back home by morning, I insisted, though the knot in my stomach suggested otherwise. I don't think so, Sadie, Melissa said quietly. Not this time. They left shortly after, leaving me alone with a full cake and an empty room I'd still have to pay for. I drove home fuming, rehearsing all the ways Donovan had overreacted and ruined the night I'd worked so hard to plan. But Donovan wasn't home. His side of the closet was conspicuously emptier. The bathroom counter was missing his toiletries. I called him repeatedly, each call going straight to voicemail. With each unanswered ring, my anger morphed into something unfamiliar. Panic. This is ridiculous, I texted him. You're seriously leaving over a joke? After everything I did for your birthday? No response. You're proving my point about being dramatic, I tried again. Nothing. By morning, I'd left 17 messages and 32 texts ranging from angry to pleading. I called his office, but Jessica, that bitch, said he'd taken personal days and she couldn't help me further. 3 days of silence later, I got an email. Not even a text. An email like I was some business acquaintance. Sadie, I've moved out. I've been planning this for weeks, as I realized our relationship has become irreparably toxic. I've documented the pattern of emotional manipulation, public humiliation, and gaslighting I've experienced. I've consulted a lawyer who advised me to inform you that I'll be filing for divorce. My father will collect the rest of my belongings on Thursday. Please don't be there when he comes. Donovan. I read it 4 times, convinced it was another joke, a taste of my own medicine. I called Melissa in tears, expecting sympathy. Did you know about this? I demanded when she answered. Her hesitation told me everything. He mentioned he was unhappy. Unhappy? He's leaving me over a stupid joke. Sadie, she said carefully, he's been recording your conversations for months. He played me one where you threatened to tell his boss he was having an affair if he didn't come home from that work conference early. That was... I stopped, remembering. That was just to get him to come home. I didn't mean it. He said you go through his phone but explode if he touches yours, that you isolate him from his family, that you compare him to other men constantly. So now you're on his side completely? My voice rose with disbelief. Some friend you are. I tried to warn you, Sadie. That day at the boutique when you told me your hilarious birthday plan, I explicitly told you it was a bad idea. I hung up on her. This couldn't be happening. Donovan wasn't the type to actually leave. He was the reliable one, the steady one. He always came back. Always forgave me eventually. It's been 3 months. 3 months of living alone in the house we bought together. 3 months of jumping every time my phone buzzes, hoping it's him. 3 months of slowly accepting that he's actually gone. The divorce papers arrived yesterday, not through a lawyer, through Melissa. Apparently, she's been helping him get his affairs in order for weeks. Some friend. She stood in my doorway, all fake sympathy, handing me the manila envelope. He didn't want to pay for a process server. She explained awkwardly. Thought this would be less embarrassing for you. Less embarrassing? As if anything could be more humiliating than having your so-called best friend deliver divorce papers from your husband. The husband who, by the way, completely emptied our joint savings account the day after his birthday disaster, leaving me scrambling to cover the mortgage alone on my part-time boutique salary. There's something else you should know, Melissa said, not meeting my eyes. Donovan and we've been spending time together. Not romantically, she added quickly, seeing my expression. At first I was just helping him find an apartment and connect with a therapist, but... Get out, I whispered, then louder. Get out. She left, but not before saying, he's doing well, Sadie. He seems lighter somehow. The divorce filing paints me as emotionally abusive. Can you believe that? Me, abusive? It lists all these incidents of what he calls gaslighting and manipulation. He even included transcripts of conversations he secretly recorded. Who does that? The most humiliating part is the birthday party fiasco, described in cold legal terms as the culminating incident of public humiliation. I've tried calling his dad, thinking he might talk sense into Donovan, but Richard just said, I think you both need to move on, Sadie, in that maddeningly calm voice so like his son's. What kills me isn't losing Donovan, it's that he made me look like the villain. Everyone's taken his side. Even Travis stopped texting after that night, like I'm suddenly radioactive. The cake sat in our refrigerator for 2 weeks after the party. I couldn't bring myself to throw it out. It was the only thing that stayed when everything else fell apart. When it finally started to mold, I sat on the kitchen floor and ate one last piece before dumping it in the trash, crying over chocolate frosting like some pathetic rom-com character. Sometimes I scroll through photos of us, trying to pinpoint when things changed. There's one from last Christmas where he's looking at me instead of the camera, and I never noticed before how tired his eyes looked, how forced his smile was. Was he already planning his escape then? Had I really been that awful? No, I refuse to accept full blame here. Relationships take 2 people. He could have tried harder to understand my sense of humor. He could have been less sensitive about innocent jokes. He could have talked to me instead of sneaking around recording conversations and consulting lawyers behind my back. That's the real betrayal, not my harmless prank. Yesterday, I texted Travis. He responded right away, suggesting we meet for drinks. As I got ready, putting on lipstick in the bathroom mirror where Donovan's things used to be, I thought about what Melissa said about Donovan seeming lighter. Maybe that's what I need too. To move on, to feel lighter. The divorce papers sit unsigned on the coffee table, next to the remnants of the cake box I still can't bring myself to throw away. Tomorrow I'll sign them, I tell myself. Tomorrow I'll accept that my marriage ended because of a joke gone wrong. But tonight, I'm meeting Travis. After all, I'm single now, right? Donovan made sure of that when he walked out and left nothing but cake behind.